We're on the grid at Road America. I threw some cameras in the car for practice, and I'll show you how we brought the car here on the grid, P2 for race 2. I'll try to walk you through and let you feel like you're part of the journey, and yeah, basically it's like see how we changed the car to get the balance dialed in for the races. So I'm gonna jump back to the studio and I'll walk you guys through it.
Welcome to the studio. If it's your first time here, welcome in. If it's not, welcome back. I'm Daniel Morad. If you're unfamiliar with who I am, I race for Mercedes-AMG in the GT3 car and GT4 in SRO GT World Challenge and also the IMSA series. I've done a few of these videos before, so let's just jump right into the car and we'll see how the first run of the first practice goes. And I would actually love if you guys can follow along and maybe throughout the pit stops make some guesses as to what we changed. So at each stop, I want you to write in the comments what we changed, or at least guess, and we'll see how close you guys are. So this is the first run. I'll just walk you through and try to, give you the inside information here, what's going on. So I believe this is like one of the first laps of the first practice. So we actually have a Thursday and Friday practice, about 4 sessions, but sometimes I don't drive all the time. And then in GT World Challenge, there's actually 2 drivers. So I'm in the Pro Am class, so I'm the Pro and I drive with an Am. And normally we try to get my Am as much time as possible because he just needs more experience to gain the speed. But yeah, this is Road America. You're probably very familiar with this if you're into motorsports. It's one of the most famous circuits in the world, at least in the US anyway. Freshly repaved as well, so it made it very, very tricky. You had to be online, like precisely online, otherwise you just had no grip at all. So you can see the balance is not so bad. So this is one of the races that's like deeper into the season now. So racing with TR3 Racing. It's a new team to the Mercedes platform. This is, I mean, I've been with Mercedes for a few years now, and driving the AMG GT3 for several years, so I'm very familiar with it, so I can bring my knowledge. That's a very tricky corner there, the kink. It's insane how challenging that is. If you're off by a little bit, it's over. I mean, the speeds are well over, it's about 230 kph through the center of the corner, so you definitely don't want to miss it. But yeah, just experimenting, specifically with gearing. The first time you go to a track, especially when the surface changes, with this car, with this track, we're just like, there's a lot of unknowns. So just a lot of trial and error at this point. Picking up a beautiful slipstream off this Porsche. He's lifting to let me by, which is nice. The AMG is actually one of the cars that has the lowest top speed. So anyway, that's one lap around. We're just going to cut right back to the pit and let's listen in.
Yeah, it feels like the rear brakes were pulling really strong. Just on the brake release, I was getting oversteer on entry. And it's not brake balance. I checked brake balance. It's about right. I went a little bit forward just to see if it mitigated the issue. I went 8 clicks and it didn't seem to help as much. It's just being funny. Hard braking and release, like a quick release on turn in. It just feels like the rear is sticking too long, and I got a mega snap oversteer on the initial.
Giving some feedback about the brakes.
What I'll try to do is just maybe brake, hard, but release sooner. That release comes off quicker. No pumping. Only off of very, very big vibration curves.
Talking about the knockback springs.
So, brake harder and release. Release.
So we're just checking the sticking of the rear
free.
brake pad. What I'm referring to about the brakes and the knockback spring is we actually changed to a softer spring, which prevents the brake pad from squeezing against the rotor so hard. That's going to allow less resistance, which will in turn give it hopefully more top speed or less resistance against less rolling resistance. The idea is to basically make the car freer so you have less drag. But the downside is that with vibration curbs, you get knockback on those pads so they go far away from the discs, which is why you may or may not have seen in other videos I've posted on the channel me tapping the brake before going into a brake zone, just to try to get the, I pump the brake so it brings the pad closer to the rotor, just so you have like a really nice firm pedal when you hit the brakes. But let's see how this next run goes now that we've made a few changes on the balance just to try to gain a little entry stability. So here's the second run up to 6th gear going to T1. It's really, really quick. Hard on the brakes. The ABS lights flash very easily, I would say, but yeah, we're not really into the ABS per se that hard. But with, like I said in the beginning, new surface, very tricky circuit. So much grip online, but if you're off by a little bit, like if you're out of the groove, you just have zero grip whatsoever. So important to be inside the groove. Just holding 5th gear, hard on the brakes, really important to spot, your brake point for turn 5. See, the car looks a little bit better actually. It looks a lot more stable on the entry. I've adjusted the brakes so it doesn't, I don't feel like it's grabbing as much. I definitely went, I went forward on the bias, so I had less rear sticking. Car ahead just getting out of the way, which is nice. So you notice I'm down to 2nd gear in this corner in turn 8. Just trying to feel it out, what the best way to go about it is, and holding 3rd into the carousel. Made some adjustments later on, obviously as I'm getting more comfortable with driving and understanding the limits of the track. You don't want to make a mistake there, so going off would be game over. Same thing here, you can hear the lift. But later, as I get more comfortable, there's less of a lift, and even tried it flat out at one point, which was, I don't know if it was faster. Definitely not repeatable. So yeah, a little wide there. I couldn't turn in. The brakes are probably the biggest challenge for me at this point, just especially into Canada corner, turn 12. It felt like the rear is so snappy on the way in. You can see me really working my hands and then understeer. Look at that understeer off the corner. So much understeer. So really having a lot of entry snap oversteer into the corner off the brakes, on and just on the release phase of the brakes, and then once I'm off, it's just completely transitioning to understeer. So let's listen into this bit of feedback here.
Yeah, exactly. Turn 3 exit. Really it's every exit. Mostly lower, mid to low speed. So turn 3, turn 5, turn 6, turn 8, 12, 14. Those are the kind of corners where in coast it picks up a little understeer, and with the throttle application it just fades into more understeer off if I don't get the rotation done. Corner entry, it's definitely better. The comment I made earlier on the other sets, it's not really there, that snappiness on corner entry. So
that was another set of new tires. So we went back to back view just to verify.
But yeah, it's still a little there with that snappiness on the entry. It's very pointy on the initial turn in, and then it starts to fade into understeer, into coast, and then as I pick the throttle up, it just completely completely goes numb on the front axle, and the steering goes down. Yeah, I'd say it's pointy when there's pitch involved. So anytime I'm in like a deceleration and nose down, so aggressive pitch on the front, then I feel like it's quite sensitive and pointy. And
we don't have a latching rate.
As I come off of the brake, if I don't get the snappiness, then it just transitions to understeer in the coasting phase, and then when I pick the throttle up, I get more understeer off.
I have to hold the radio button down.
Everything good, Chunky Monkey? All right.
Chunky Monkey.
He calls me a chunky monkey.
Chunky Monkey is good.
Chunky Monkey going back.
All right, we're gonna go back out. Can you guys guess what we've changed so far? I want you to follow along and just guess in the comments what we've changed based on my feedback. Here we are for the third run. Yeah, this is a little loose on entry now, especially as the tires get worn out. So these aren't new tires anymore. So pushing the entry, you can see the entry instability, which transitions to understeer. A lot of the AMG guys were giving that kind of feedback where we had a really unstable entry. and a lot of understeer from mid to exit, especially exit. I think we had one of the better cars. Like, we mitigated that issue later on, especially going into qualifying. But yeah, this was a big challenge for us to really try to get rid of that understeer from the medium and low speed exits. It's looking a little bit better. So I'm getting more comfortable now, using more of the track, using more of the curb as well, apex curbs. So still using second gear here. Eventually, once we get the car dialed a bit more, I believe I start, well, I don't believe, I know I start using third gear through turn 8 and fourth gear in the carousel, but that will start to change in the future sessions that you're going to see. Still a little bit of a breather in the kink, but minimum speed at that point is about 220 kph with the lift. When we're doing it close to flat or flat out, it's about 230 kilometers per hour mid-corner. Still that correction, you see that snap correction in with a little bit of understeer off. That's been one of the most challenging corners, Canada corner. Big lift here. Eventually, I started doing that corner flat out. So turn 13. Once we got the car dialed in, so look, just on the brakes, the thing's so snappy. Once I transition off the brake pedal, it transitions to understeer, and then when I pick up the throttle, if I don't get the rotation, it's just mega understeer. So we're trying our best to fix it. A little bit cleaner through 1.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Very hot.
It improved on
Got a
the
water bottle.
rotation coming off, like coming into coast. It's not a question of how good the rotation is on the brakes. I think it rotates quite well when the nose is down. It's when I come off the brake and into coast, it just starts to get a lighter feeling on the wheel as I rotate initially. That's just when the front comes up and it goes into coast. I think when the front's down, when nose down, it's actually quite pointy. It's when front comes up and I go into coast, off throttle and off brake, I start to feel a little understeer. That's gone down
Coast
quite a bit.
referring to the differential.
It's still a little there, but it's really present when I apply throttle, and not initial throttle, it's more mid-phase and late off the corner where the understeer starts to increase more and more and steering angle increases.
So similar feedback. The changes we made didn't really affect the car in a positive way. So we reverted back and we're trying something else now. So what do we change now? Let me know. Changing up the camera angle, trying new things, going through the kink there. There is a car in front of me, so I had to lift a little bit. Just a wee bit of oversteer, just a wee bit. But let's see, I mean, I really pushed the entry. If you push the entry into Canada corner into turn 12, it just punishes you so much. But you can still see we're struggling. Understeer is a little bit better off the corner, which is a positive. I can deal with the rotation on entry. It's just understeer that you just are a passenger. If you can get rid of the understeer, the car will be quick. I'm happy with oversteer. My hands are fast enough to catch the slides and my car control is okay. So no issues with the oversteer, but I want to get rid of that understeer especially. Like, you can see just how pointy it is on entry. I'm really working my hands quite a bit. But the positive news is understeer is going down if you pay attention on exit. Look at how my steering angle's decreased. Look how I'm able to open my hands up now off the corner. Earlier, notice I wasn't able to do that. So definitely a step in the right direction in terms of mid to exit. Again, if you guys are clever, maybe you can figure out what we've done on the car to mitigate that based on my feedback. Maybe you guys are some engineers, you know? Maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. Just take a stab at it. But yeah, definitely much better mid to exit on understeer. Look at this, look at the confidence I have now. A lot more stability as well in these high-speed corners, which is nice. Check that out, third gear now. Third gear through turn 8. Not getting that snap oversteer off. Up to fourth gear through the carousel now. A little bit of overlap on the brake at this point. Instead of using engine braking, I'm using my overlap on the brake pedal. Let's listen in through the kink. Oh, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but it sounded nearly flat. I know I did it. I did it once or twice, flat out. I didn't notice if it was faster. But look at that, way better rotation off. Now I'm actually struggling with the rear a little bit off the corner. Now it's flat out through turn 13. So a little entry snap oversteer. Look, I'm actually able to open my hands up. That was a big problem corner coming onto the front straight. I wasn't really able to get my hands unwound and get the understeer of the car, so it's way better now. Looks really good. I mean, we still have to solve that entry instability, but exit's good. So through all of the practice sessions, we really worked hard on the car, and we got it to a point where it was actually really, really strong. We qualified P2 for the second race, which is where the pros start the car. And unfortunately, throughout the weekend, we just had a little bit of an issue, specifically with my teammate, unfortunately, as he just struggled to get comfortable with the track. He just lacked the confidence, and I think Road America is one of those circuits where you really need the confidence. So the results weren't great, but the pace was incredible. We qualified second, like I said. Lacked a little bit of straight line speed, which is ultimately, I believe, what cost us pole position, because we were about 5K PH down on the pole sitting Mercedes. But otherwise, a really, really strong effort. I mean, a really good job by the team and my engineer to get that car dialed in, to even give us the chance to fight in the front, at least in the beginning of my stint. But yeah, had a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed riding along with me and following along all the changes. Like I said earlier, if you guys haven't written all the changes through each run, I want you to label, first run, second run, etc. I want you to label what you think we changed on each of the runs. And I'm going to try to be as active as I can in the comments and engage with you. I'll tell you if you're right or wrong. I mean, I have nothing to hide at this point. There's so many things. You need the full package to get it right. So let me know what you guys think we changed, and I'll let you know if it's right or wrong. I'll go through the log and see what we've done. But yeah, super fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the new angles as well. And if you enjoyed that kind of content, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to know more about the races, if you want to follow along, you can join me on Twitch as well. I live stream whenever I'm home. A few more races to go this year, and hopefully you guys are there to support us. But otherwise, that's it for now. I'm gonna keep cranking out content. I'll see you very soon. It's coming into the off season now. We're gonna be pumping videos out. We'll catch you guys soon. Take care.